Good evening. My name is Syma Shulman Levine.
And my name is Levine.
And we're privileged this evening to learn Perek Vav of Sefer Tehillim, and it should be a zchut for Refuah Shlema for Sarah Rivka Bas Mindel, Sarah Lamdrach.
We're going to begin by going through the Perek of Tehillim, pasuk by pasuk, Hebrew and then English, followed by a little commentary on the pasuk, on the Mizmor.
LeDavid shifteni Adonai ki ani betumi halachti ubadonai batachti lo emod. O David, judge me, O Lord, for I have walked with sincerity, and I trusted in the Lord. I shall not falter.
Bechaneni Adonai v'naseni tzarpa kliotai v'libi. Test me, O Lord, and try me. Refine my reins and my heart.
Ki chastecha leneged einai v'hid halachti ba'amitecha. For your kindness is before my eyes, and I walked in your truth.
Lo yashavti im mitei shav v'im na'alamim lo avo. I did not sit with dishonest men, neither did I go with hypocrites.
Senesi kahal mereim v'im rashaim lo eshev. I hated the congregation of the evildoers, and I did not sit with the wicked.
Erchatz b'nikayon kapai v'asoveva et mizbachecha Adonai. I washed my hand with cleanliness, and I encompassed your altar, O Lord.
Lishmoa b'kol todah u'lesaper kol niflaosecha. To proclaim thanksgiving with a loud voice, and to recite all your wonders.
Adonai ahavti me'on beitecha u'mekom mishkan kevodecha. O Lord, I love the dwelling of your house and the place of the residence of your glory.
Al te'esof im chatem nafshi ve'im anshei demim chayai. Gather not my soul with sinners, nor my life with men of blood.
Asher bidehem zima v'mina mal'a shochad, in whose hands are plots and whose right hand is full of bribery.
Va'ani betumi elech, v'deni v'chaneni. But I walk with sincerity. Redeem me and be gracious to me.
Ragli amda b'mishor b'makhelim avarech Adonai. My foot stood on a straight path. I will bless the Lord in assemblies. The Perek of Tehillim begins, and most of it is talking about the fact that the Mishorer distanced himself from evildoers, that he was not comfortable in the assemblies of wicked men. This echoes very nicely the Mishnah in Pirkei Avos, in Perek Aleph, Mishnah Zayin, where the Mishnah says, Natai ha'armeli omer, harchek mishachein ura, v'al titchaber larasha, v'al tityaesh min haporanut.
Nitai Habab says, distance yourself from a bad neighbor. Don't attach yourself to a wicked person, and don't divert your mind from the possibility that bad things can happen to you.
The Mishnah in Pirkei Avos is highlighting two different aspects of distancing yourself from evildoers. On the one hand, he begins by saying, harchek mishachein ra. This is an active verb of actually distancing yourself from an evil neighbor. Neighbors are something that you often cannot choose whom you are surrounded by. Sometimes someone comes and dwells right in your neighborhood, and you have no choice in that. Therefore, Natan Arameli is advocating that you must actively distance yourself from those people. The second part is V'al titchaber larasha. This is an even earlier stage. This verb of titchaber is referring to how you befriend someone who's evil. It is saying do not even befriend someone who is an evil person. Do not come close to them and do not go and seek their friendship. It is important, these two different levels. On the one hand, do not actively go and befriend people who are evil, but also you must make sure to actively distance yourself from evil neighbors. This is the idea of oy l'rasha v'oy l'shchena, that woe is to the wicked person and woe is to his neighbors. One of the reasons for this principle is quoted by Rabbeinu Yonah. Rabbeinu Yonah on this Mishnah in Pirkei Avos explains that the third clause in the Mishnah is actually giving an explanation for the first part. The first clause in the Mishnah discusses distancing yourself from an evil neighbor. The second clause refers to not befriending an evil person. But the third clause says, V'al tityaesh min haporanut. Do not divert your mind from the possibility that bad things can happen to you. Rabbeinu Yonah explains that this is giving an explanation for the first two. It is not enough to dwell among the wicked, and don't fool yourself into thinking, I am a strong enough person and therefore I will not become swayed in an evil assembly, that I am fine living among the wicked and I will not stoop to their level. Rabbeinu Yonah is saying that the Mishnah is teaching us, do not kid yourself into thinking that there's no possibility that you will stumble. Do not fool yourself into thinking that you are above the influence of others or that bad things can never happen to you. It's exactly the opposite, that you become who your friends are, and it is possible that you will stoop to their level. And therefore it is important that the first part of the Mishnah teaches to distance yourself from evil neighbors and also not to befriend evil people. This principle of Oy l'Rasha v'Oy l'Shcheno is highlighted in the Torah when describing the camp of Bnei Yisrael. We know that right next to the camp of Korach was the tribe of Reuven. When Korach had his rebellion, many of the people from Sheva Reuven went in and joined his rebellion. Rashi quotes this famous principle of Oy l'Rasha v'Oy l'Shcheno, woe is to the wicked and woe is to his neighbor, to explain that why the people from Sheva Reuven joined in with the assembly of Korach. Korach, who was a wicked man, was able to influence his neighbors, otherwise righteous people from the Shevet of Reuven, to come and join in his argument against Moshe and Aaron and his rebellion against Hashem. And ultimately they suffered just as Korach did. But just as it is true in the negative direction, that your friends can influence you to do evil deeds, and Oy l'Rasha v'Oy l'Shcheno, so is it true in the positive direction. Tov l'tzadik v'tov l'shcheno. But good is to the righteous person and good is to his neighbors. We see this also when it comes to the camp of Bnei Yisrael, that Moshe and Aaron dwelled right next to the tribe of Yisachar. Moshe and Aaron, who were the leaders of the Jewish people, and were the ones who disseminated Torah throughout the entire camp, dwelled right next to the tribe of Yisachar, which we know produced many Talmidei Chachamim and many heads of the Sanhedrin. So just as it is true in the negative, that we must be careful to distance ourselves from wicked people, so too is it true in the positive, that we should surround ourselves by positive influences and righteous people. So too in the story of Purim do we see this emphasis. We know that Haman was an extremely wicked person, and he came up with many plans against the Jewish people and tried to destroy them. Now Achashverosh is himself not such an active participant in this plan. He does not come up with the plan, he does not advocate for it, he does not come up with the lottery of the day on which the Jews should be destroyed. But he does dwell with Haman. He does sit down and sit next to Haman, and therefore he is grouped together in Haman's plot, and ultimately he is called wicked for that. We know at the end of Perek Beis of the Megillah, where it describes after Haman came out with this plan, that really Haman and Achashverosh sat to eat, and they are grouped together, that the two of them were coming up with this plan to destroy the Jews, but in contrast to that, Va'ir Shushan Navocha, and the entire city of Shushan and the entire Jews are on the opposite extreme, that they are in mourning. So Achashverosh, even though he himself was not as active in destroying the Jews, he is nevertheless grouped together with Haman because of their wicked deeds. It is therefore important to surround yourself by righteous people. I am privileged to live in the same community as Mrs. Dratch. Mrs. Dratch has been a positive influence on the entire community and is surrounded by a community of people looking for a closer relationship with Hashem through means of Talmud Torah and Chesed. And that is why this entire program of learning Tehillim in her merit should bring about a refuah, because we have surrounded ourselves by righteous people who are interested in getting closer to God and seeking ways in order to increase our Yiras Hashem and Avas Hashem.
And indeed, we look to Sarah Lamb Dratch as somebody who is both a good neighbor and builds a good neighborhood. With her smile, with her laughter, with her good nature, with her infectious good nature, that she enriches all of our lives and teaches us all by example the meaning of being a good neighbor.
Thank you very much for this opportunity.